When a man is secretly interested in you, the first thing you'll notice, if you're paying attention, is not what he says, but how he pays attention. There's a subtle shift in the way he observes you, the way he listens, and the way he reacts to even the smallest details about your life. He doesn't just hear words, he absorbs them. He noticed the way your mood changes, the things that make you laugh, the way your energy fluctuates in different situations. This kind of attention isn't calculated. It's instinctive, a reflection of genuine interest before he ever puts it into words. Psychologically, humans are wired to pay attention to what we value. If something or someone holds significance for us, our brain prioritizes. Noticing patterns, remembering details, and scanning for cues that deepen the connection. A man who is secretly drawn to you will do this without even thinking about it. He'll recall small facts you mentioned in passing, remember the name of a friend you spoke about once, or notice when you're feeling off before anyone else does. These are subtle indicators of emotional investment, and they often reveal more than any direct confession ever could. But attention is not just about observation, it's about presence. When someone is truly interested, their focus sharpens in your presence. They become attuned to your expressions, gestures, and reactions. You might catch him glancing when he thinks you're not noticing, or leaning in slightly when you speak. These micro moments are signals of They suggest that he's emotionally engaged, that he's prioritizing understanding you over performing or impressing you. And this is key. Genuine attention is never about strategy. It's about curiosity, care, and a desire to connect. Philosophically, attention is the currency of attraction. You can spend money, time, or effort in countless ways, but true attention is something rare and therefore deeply valued. When someone invests their attention in you, they are essentially saying, "You matter to me in ways that extend beyond surface interaction." That's why these hidden signals are so revealing. They bypass words and tap directly into emotional resonance. They create a sense of being seen, acknowledged, and understood, an experience that is profoundly attractive and unforgettable. The beauty of these subtle signs is that they are often unconscious. A man doesn't need to plan to notice these details. His interest naturally guides him to do so. This is why, if you learn to recognize and interpret these small signals, you gain insight into feelings that might otherwise remain hidden. You begin to see beyond the surface and understand the emotional reality behind his actions. And here's the essential takeaway. Pay attention to the attention. Notice who consistently notices you, not just in grand gestures, but in the quiet, thoughtful ways that reflect genuine care. The hidden signals of interest are always there for those who are willing to observe with patience and awareness. So if you want to understand someone's true feelings, don't look only for what they say, K, for what they remember, what they notice, and how present they are when they're around you. That attention is the first most honest proof of hidden interest, and it's the doorway to connection that words alone can never create. When we talk about attraction, words often get all the attention. We focus on what someone says, the compliments, the invitations, the jokes. But in reality, the most nest signals are almost never verbal. They're physical. Body language is the unconscious language of desire, and it often communicates more clearly than any carefully chosen phrase ever could. When a man is secretly interested in you, his body begins to reveal what his lips may not yet admit. You might notice subtle cues almost immediately. He leans in when you speak, even slightly, signaling a desire to close the space between you. He mirrors your gestures or your posture without thinking about it, a psychological phenomenon that indicates empathy and rapport. His movements become attuned to yours, not out of mimicry, but because his brain is tuned into your presence. These small, almost invisible cues are powerful because they operate outside of conscious control. They reflect genuine interest in a way that words sometimes cannot. Posture and orientation also carry hidden meaning. A man who positions his body toward you, even in a crowded room, is signaling attention and availability. His feet, his torso, the tilt of his head, all of these subtle alignments are part of a nonverbal language that communicates, "I'm present with you. You have my attention." Conversely, if someone consistently avoids facing you or maintains closed-off body language, it's an equally honest indicator of emotional distance. The truth is rarely in the words alone. It is in the way the body moves, responds, and creates space around the interaction. Psychologically, body language reflects our internal state before we even attempt to control it. When someone feels attraction, the nervous system responds. Pupils may dilate, heart rate can increase, and subtle micro-expressions of interest, like a fleeting smile, a lifted brow, or a brief glance, begin to appear. These reactions happen faster than thought, often before the conscious mind has a chance to intervene. That's why learning to notice these physical signals gives you a window into genuine feelings that might still be hidden behind hesita, ayon, or uncertainty. Philosophically, this reveals an important truth. Attraction is often felt before it is admitted. There's a kind of honesty in the body that the mind sometimes hides. When a man is secretly interested, his body can't lie in the same way words can. It communicates desire, curiosity, and attentiveness through movement, posture, and subtle gestures. Understanding this nonverbal language allows you to see beyond what is said to what is truly felt. It's also worth noting that these signals are rarely dramatic. They aren't always the exaggerated actions of someone trying to impress. They are quiet, consistent, and natural. Like leaning in slightly when you laugh, adjusting posture to face you more directly, or unconsciously mirroring your energy. These nuances are where real attraction hides, and they are easy to miss if you're only listening for the words. So, if you want to understand someone's hidden interest, pay attention to their body, watch for alignment, mirroring, subtle proximity, and the small ways their movements respond to you. Words can be rehearsed or withheld, but the body speaks truth. When you learn to read it, you uncover the invisible signals of desire that reveal more than confessions ever could. The key takeaway is this. Attraction is a language you can observe, not just hear. His body will tell you the story his words may not yet dare to speak. Learn to notice and you'll see the truth behind the hidden signals. One of the most revealing signs that a man is secretly interested in you is how he chooses to spend his time around you. It's not always about grand gestures or dramatic declarations. It's often in the small, consistent ways he makes your presence a priority. When someone values another person, they naturally create space for them in their life, even if it's subtle. This prioritization is rarely accidental. It reflects an internal desire to be closer, to share experiences, and to invest in connection. Psychologically, we all operate under the principle of attention and energy. Where someone invests their time, energy, and focus often reflects where their heart is, whether they realize it or not. A man who is secretly drawn to you will find ways to include you, even in minor ways, without feeling forced. It could be as simple as making sure you're looped into plans, remembering to check in when he knows you'll be busy, or showing up consistently at times that matter to you. These small actions indicate that you occupy a meaningful space in his world. What's important to recognize is that true interest doesn't require overt declarations. Often, men who are secretly interested may be cautious, hesitant, or unsure of how to articulate their feelings. Their consistency and presence, however, communicates a why. Message, you matter to me. It's in choosing to spend moments with you, even when it's not convenient or when no one else would notice, that genuine investment is revealed. This is why attention to the subtleties of behavior is so critical. The grand gestures are easy to spot, but it's the everyday prioritization that is the most authentic indicator of hidden interest. Philosophically, this reflects a deeper principle about human connection. Attraction is not just about words or charm, it's about participation. If someone is willing to include you in their world, to invest time and energy without expectation, they are signaling that your presence enriches their life. This kind of investment cannot be fabricated. Even someone who is unsure of how to express their feelings will find ways. To maintain proximity and engagement, if their interest is genuine. It's also worth noting that this prioritization is often subtle rather than dramatic. You might notice he always makes an effort to be where you are, sends a thoughtful message, or remembers things you've mentioned in passing. These aren't attempts to impress, they're manifestations of genuine care and interest. Hidden attraction, is rarely loud, it's quiet, consistent, and persistent. Emotional intuition plays a role here too. When someone truly values you, you can often feel the consistency and effort behind their actions, even if it's not explicitly stated. That sense of being considered, of being part of someone's life in meaningful ways, creates a deep emotional resonance that often precedes verbal confirmation of interest. The key takeaway is this. Observe how he integrates you into his life. Look beyond grand gestures and focus on patterns of consistency, subtle effort, and thoughtful attention. These small yet meaningful behaviors reveal hidden interest far more reliably than any words ever could. So if you want to understand the truth behind someone's feelings, pay attention to the moments he chooses to. Prioritize your presence. His hidden interest is often expressed not in what he says, but in the life he's willing to share with you. One of the most fascinating and often misunderstood signs that a man is secretly interested in you is his use of playful teasing and gentle challenges. On the surface, it can feel confusing. Why would someone who likes you test or provoke you in small ways? The truth. This behavior is rarely about arrogance or disrespect. Instead, it's a subtle and unconscious method of creating intimacy, building rapport, and gauging how you respond to his energy. Playfulness is one of the most powerful signals of hidden attraction, and learning to recognize it can change the way you interpret his behavior. Psychologically, humans are wired to respond to social play. When someone teases you in a light-hearted way, it creates a space for engagement that is dynamic and emotionally stimulating. It signals interest without the vulnerability of a direct confession. In other words, through teasing, he is opening a channel of interaction while keeping himself emotionally safe. This allows him to observe how you react, to test boundaries, and to measure mutual attraction in a way that feels natural rather than forced. Gentle challenges are another layer of this signal. He might provoke a playful debate, question your opinions, or challenge your perspective, not to undermine you, but to invite connection and intellectual engagement. This kind of subtle testing is a way of exploring compatibility and gauging chemistry. It's not about winning or proving anything, it's about seeing if your energies match and if the interaction creates a spark. People often overlook this, assuming that teasing or challenges are negative, when in fact they're often one of the most honest indicators of hidden interest. Philosophically, this behavior reflects a deeper truth about attraction. People are drawn to engagement that stimulates both the mind and the emotions, emotional flow. Sameness often begins in moments of playfulness where vulnerability is low but curiosity is high. By teasing, he is signaling that he is curious, attentive, and emotionally engaged. He is also inviting you to meet him in that space, creating a dynamic interaction that can deepen connection over time. Importantly, this behavior is usually consistent and subtle. It doesn't appear as a constant barra. Of jokes or challenges, rather, it surfaces in small, recurring patterns. He might tease you about something you've said, poke fun at a small habit, or offer a playful challenge to your opinions. Over time, these micro moments accumulate into a clear signal. He is interested, engaged, and emotionally present, even if he hasn't openly admitted it. It's also worth noting the emotional intelligence behind this behavior. Someone who is genuinely interested knows the difference between playful teasing and harm. The key is that it creates a sense of connection, curiosity, and fun rather than tension or discomfort. It is an invitation to interact on a deeper level without forcing the vulnerability that comes with direct confession. The takeaway here is simple: playful teasing and gentle char. Lenges are not just games, they are subtle signals of interest. They reveal curiosity, attentiveness, and emotional engagement. When you recognize these behaviors, you can see beyond words and understand the hidden messages behind his actions. So if you want to truly understand whether he's secretly interested, pay attention to how he teases and challenges you in those moments of playful interact. He is revealing more than words ever could, inviting you into a space of connection, intrigue, and mutual attraction. One of the most telling signs that a man is secretly interested in you is his emotional availability, even if it's subtle or understated. Emotional availability isn't about grand confessions or dramatic declarations. It's about the consistent ways he shows he cares, listens, and he responds to what matters to you. When someone is drawn to you, they invest emotionally without expecting anything in return. They remember details you share, notice your moods, and offer support in ways that go beyond surface level interaction. This emotional engagement is one of the most reliable hidden signals of interest. Psychologically, humans are wired to seek connection. We are drawn to people who make us feel seen, heard, and valued. When a man is secretly interested, he instinctively tunes into your inner world. He notices your struggles, celebrates your wins, and pays attention to the things that make you who you are. Even small gestures, like sending a thoughtful message after a difficult day or remembering an offhand comment from weeks ago, communicate that he values your emote. Experience. These acts reveal a level of care and attentiveness that cannot easily be faked. Emotional availability also manifests in the way he listens. Someone who is genuinely interested doesn't simply wait for their turn to speak. They actively engage with your thoughts and feelings. They ask questions, seek clarification, and respond in ways that show they are processing what you're airing. This level of attentiveness signals investment. It demonstrates that he prioritizes your emotional presence, even if he hasn't yet voiced his romantic intentions. Philosophically, emotional availability is about vulnerability and trust. A man who offers support, remembers what matters to you, and shows up consistently is, in a sense, revealing his own willingness to be open and connected. This doesn't mean he is without fear. Interest and vulnerability often coexist with uncertainty, but it does mean he is willing to step into the emotional space with you. By observing how someone responds to your emotions, you can gain insight into the depth of their hidden interest. Another important aspect of this hidden signal is consistency. Occasional attention can be easy to misinterpret, but when emotional engagement is steady, even in subtle ways, it reflects genuine care. He may not be ready to explicitly say, "I like you," but his behavior demonstrates it in practice. It's in the accumulation of small, emotionally responsive moments that the hidden signals of interest become unmistakable. It's also crucial to understand that emotional availability is expressed without expectation or pressure. He doesn't engage emotionally to manipulate your feelings or secure an immediate response. Instead, his attentiveness is abo. Creating connection and fostering trust. This makes his interest feel authentic, grounded, and reassuring. It's one of the quietest yet most powerful ways someone reveals attraction before it becomes overt. The takeaway here is clear. Notice the ways he listens, supports, and engages with your emotional world. Hidden interest is rarely shouted. It's often expressed through thoughtful, consist, and care. When a man prioritizes your feelings and responds with genuine attention, it's a signal that his attraction is real, even if he hasn't said it aloud. So pay attention to the emotional footprints he leaves. These subtle acts of care and engagement reveal the truth behind hidden interest, and they are often more meaningful than any words ever could. Emotional availability is a language of desire, and when you recognize it, you understand someone's feelings on a deeper, more authentic level. One of the most intriguing and often misunderstood signs that a man is secretly interested in you is the presence of subtle inconsistencies in his behavior. You may notice moments where he seems attentive, engaged, and warm, followed by periods of distance, distraction, or even aloofness. At first, this can feel confusing or even frustrating, but these fluctuations are often not a reflection of disinterest. Instead, they reveal an internal conflict between desire and vulnerability, a tension that many people experience when their feelings are strong but unspoken. Understanding these contradictions is key to recognizing hidden attraction. Psychologically, this push and pull pattern makes sense. When someone secretly likes another person, they are often navigating a complex mix of emotions: excitement, fear, uncertainty, and anticipation. On one hand, they are drawn to connection and intimacy. On the other hand, they may fear rejection, judgment, or appearing too vulnerable. This internal tug-of-war can manifest as inconsistent behavior, moments of closeness interspersed with hesita. Far from signaling disinterest, these patterns often indicate that his feelings are strong, but he is still figuring out how to express them safely. It's important to observe these inconsistencies not as a problem, but as a clue. A man who is genuinely indifferent will typically show consistent disengagement. A man who is secretly interested will show engagement that occasionally wavers. He might initiate contact one day, then seem preoccupied the next. He might laugh and tease you in one moment, then become quiet or distant in another. These oscillations are the body and mind's way of negotiating attraction internally, reflecting a struggle to balance desire with caution. Philosophically, these contradictions point to a universal truth about human connection. Vulnerability is complicated. Attraction is rarely linear. The closer someone feels emotionally, the more intense their internal dialogue becomes. Inconsistencies aren't failures. They are signals of emotional depth. By observing how someone fluctuates between engagement and distance, you gain insight into their emotional investment. The key is to read these patterns as a whole, rather than judging isolated moments in isolation. There's also a subtle form of communication embedded in these moments of hesitation. A man who is secretly interested may pull back briefly to see if his attention is reciprocated, to gauge your reactions, or to protect himself from potential rejection. These pauses are not rejections, they are opportunities for him to understand the dynamic and for the connection to grow organically. They signal curiosity, caution, and emotional involvement all at once. Consistency in engagement over time, even if interspersed with distance, is the ultimate indicator of hidden interest. If he continually returns, invests in conversation, and engages with care despite occasional withdrawal, it demonstrates that his attention and feelings are persistent. The inconsistency is not a lack of interest. It is the emotional complexity of someone who genuinely cares, but is navigating their own vulnerabilities. The takeaway is this: don't mistake small fluctuations for disinterest. Hidden attraction often comes with moments of hesitation, internal conflict, or subtle pull and push dynamics. Observe the overall pattern and the intent behind his actions. So, if you want to recognize someone's true feelings, pay attention not only to their presence, but also to their absences and contradictions, those inconsistencies, when viewed in context, are often the quietest proof of deep hidden interest. Desire, when unspoken, often speaks in the spaces between words and actions.